Welcome to DCL TalkShow. This is DCL Radio. Today's special is our macho man Jesse joined us after a long gap. And with that, I'll straight away introduce our analyst and get into the business of talking about last week games and then predictions. Okay, and what a crucial week it has been, and next there's almost I think one game left for every team. Most of the teams, they know whether they are making it to playoffs or not, with the exception of couple of teams. With that, let me welcome Imti, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jagan. It's good to be back after the last week gap. And welcome to all our listeners to yet another episode of DCL TalkShow on DCL Radio. And welcome, KK, and welcome, Jesse, after a long gap. So welcome to the show. Glad to have you here on the show.
Welcome to the show, KK.
Thanks, Jagan. And first of all, I want to welcome Jesse back to the show. It's been a long time, especially for me, because I've not done the show for about 2 years. So I think almost after 3 years, I'm pairing up again with Jesse Mike. So glad that you're back.
Welcome to the show, Jesse, the macho man.
Thank you, Jagan, and thank you, Imti and KK. Absolutely delighted to be back and missed it all the way. Listened to almost all the shows. Couldn't miss out listening to some of my best friends talking about in detail. Missing Abhishek today, but yeah, that's how it is. And welcome to all the listeners all over the world. And I think, yep, Jagan, you're right. We are into business end, and I think, as you said, most of the teams are in position to strategize how they are going to play playoffs. And I think a couple of games in the last week also did have an effect on outcome of some of the teams making it to playoffs or not. So, yeah, pretty interesting phase of the tournament. And as I said, pretty delighted to be part of it.
Okay, with that, straight away, let's get into the games. The first game of the night is UCA versus Troy Hawks. Jesse, your thoughts?
Yep. I think for this game, it's sort of a mixed bag season anyways for UCA. They are a new team. They impressed in a couple of their games. They did put a great show against Raptors. They beat one of the teams in, I think, Dark Horses. And but this game, I think what's good for them in this particular game is that they won this game because of their bowling. They are a team, I think UCA is the team where against whom the only century of the league has been scored this year. Also, they conceded 150 plus scores twice in this tournament, apart from that Indus Thunder's game. So all the fight that they have put till now was because of their batting. They had a couple of great outings in the batting department, but their bowling was something which was letting them down. But this game is an exception, and they should be really joyed with the fact that it's their bowling that pulled them back, because they did not put a great score. I mean, it's always a fighting score. 89-90 is not something you throw your towel in with. But with Troy Hawks and the sort of form they are in, and some of the players that they have in their disposal, I think they and the bowling record that they had UCA throughout the season, I don't think most people after the first innings would have given them a chance. But fantastic to see them wrapping a batting unit like Troy Hawks under 50, 42 to be precise. So and they have some of the seasoned campaigner in their side, Troy Hawks, Natraj, Shashi, and some of the others who have been performing for Troy Hawks pretty decent this season. I'm not too sure if this loss is going to affect Troy Hawks making it to playoff or no. But overall, at this point of the tournament, it would have certainly raised some doubts in the batting department, which I would suggest to Troy Hawks team and skipper to forget about this game, because they have been playing a good brand of cricket throughout the season, and this could be one-off. And I hope this is a one-off, and they pull their stuff back and get into the tournament, because it's a business end. But congratulations to UCA for showing that it's not just their batting who can make a difference, rather their bowling also. So I think a lot of positives to take for UCA for the next season.
Okay, that's a great start for you, Jesse, after a long gap. Okay, and the next game of the night is Blasters versus Brownstone. Imti.
Yes, again. This game, I think it was last week, as everybody predicted, this would be a one-sided game. It kind of ended up that way, but with Brownstone's chances to make it to the playoffs was already done and dusted. This game was more of a mere formality, I thought. And then with all the talk that Mansab wouldn't play for Brownstone anymore, like like we as a team were not expecting to see him in the ground, but on the game day it was surprising to see him. In a way, it was good to see him so that we could get some good opponent competition. With that being said, Blasters in this game, I think, came out well in the batting department. So from the last few games, the batting has been clicking, so that's a good sign, getting close to the playoffs. We go into the details of the game. I think it was all along Deepak who had a 50 in this game, and he was the crux in the batting. Like the batting revolved around him. Players like Sham, Jagan, Shan kind of rotated the strike around him, and also, the last blistering innings by Prashant with 3 sixes, giving up that boost in the end to score 159. Then that this being the best score for Blasters in this season, I think will definitely give some confidence in the batting department. You look at the Brownstone bowling, except for Mansab and Mujahid, there were no known names in the bowling for Brownstone. As expected, it was really a lot of new faces in the Brownstone team when we went to the game. As expected, the bowling really did not have any, uh, uh, I would say, I don't know, at loss of words, but did not have any serious threat to the Blasters batsmen. Pick of the ballers being Qazi Ahmed, who picked 3 wickets, although he went for 48 runs in his 5 overs. He picked up 3 wickets, crucial wickets, and Mansab, as usual, 2 wickets, and Mohammad Saad, 2 wickets. So it was overall a very decent, below par performance, I would say, from Brownstone, considering their bowling from the previous games. And then once 159 chasing that, it always depended on one man, Mansab, how he performed. The game result would definitely depend on that. And in his usual style, I think he started off very well, scoring like 17, 18 runs in the very first over. He hit 3 big 6ers, and then once he got out, I think there was not much in the batting from Brownstone. Again, down the order, Sabir Mehman coming and scoring some 25 runs, giving some resistance. But apart from that, there was nothing much in the bowling department, in the batting department for Brownstone. Looking at the bowling for Blasters, I think as the season has progressed, like the bowling has always looked good for Blasters, and that has been continuing in this game. Anvesh, after going for 17 runs in the very first over, I think he came back very well, picked up 4 wickets for 23 in the 4 overs, and well supported by Naresh and myself, and then Akshat also picking up 2 wickets. Overall, it was a good performance, and it was a convincing win for Blasters, and definitely good signs going near to the playoffs.
Okay, the next game of the night is Indus Thunders versus Thunderbolts, and defending champion versus a newcomer, and Indus did what they're supposed to do. Your thoughts, KK?
So going into this game, Jaren, Indus Thunders were the favorites, but the kind of start they had was not very promising. At the end of 9 overs, they were 33 for 4, and that is where Vijay and Manoj Singh had to do that repair job. But I think they did well because the last 7 overs which Indus Thunders played, they scored about 49 runs, and that took the score to 123. And Chetan Dushyant and Rao Ganta playing that good finisher roles, scoring 25 and 23, in addition to Manoj Singh and Vijay Verma, who scored 19 apiece. Verma also had a decent outing there. He scored 15 runs. The one who missed out is Praveen Bangera and Azim and Srikanth Terua. But 123 with the Indus Thunders bowling unit, they should be able to defend that 9 out of 10 times. And that is what happened. Thunderbolts did not have a great start. They lost 3 wickets for the first 14 runs, and from there it's about saving face. And as you see, their batsmen went more on the defensive, and finally got wrapped up in the 21st over for a score of 71. And as we are speaking about it, I was actually looking at how many Indus Thunders players qualified for the playoffs. and I see already 25 of Indus Thunder's players qualified, and 4 of their players played 2 games each. So if these 4 players play, I think is it 25? Maybe my math is wrong. I think the serial number is showing incorrect, but it's not 25. So just a second. Yes, 21 Indus Thunder's players qualified, and 4 of them are yet to qualify. So I think they'll have 25 players who qualify to playoffs. So it will be a very tough job for Sandeep Bopu and his vice captain.
I think I'm sure they know what their playoff roster is going to be, and
usually the point is when the pre-quarters of DCL is going on, you'll have the Michigan quarters going on, and when we have DCL quarters, it will be Michigan semi-finals. So there's always that conflict. So we'll have to see if Manoj Singh is done with his F40 season. Are any other players playing F40? Everything comes into pictures, not just for Indus Thunder, but for a lot of teams.
Okay, yeah, I agree on that. Can we go to our next game?
Sure.
Yeah, the next one is Kings 11 versus Strikers, and Kings 11 they could not play 25 overs, and in the end, probably that is the reason why they lost. Your thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah. So as they say, I mean, in a game of boxing, it was the round 2 of the bout, and I think the first one belonged to Kings 11. So I think Strikers were pretty determined to win this game. So was Kings 11. I think this was from the qualification point of view. This was one of the important game of this week, and it had all the ups and downs in the game to be an exciting team. And the thing I love most about Kings 11, having played against them also and seen them in a couple of matches as well, is their intensity in their batting. I mean, they are a good fielding unit, they are a good bowling unit. But the thing that I like most, and I think a lot of other teams can also take some learning out of their style of batting, is their intensity from the ball one. What I mean by intensity is most of the teams, I mean, apart from the champion teams like Thunders, Glads, and a few others, you notice when you start the game for the first 3 overs, even if that is a power play, they most of the teams, I mean, if a ball has been driven to covers and if covers is deep, they don't run for those quick singles which could be converted, which could be like 0.9% single. And if they run fast, if the coordination is there, that could be a run. But with Kings 11, what you get is from the very first ball, they are up to their task. They would run hard. They would try to bring the bowling team under pressure, not necessarily by the boundaries they hit. Even if you see in this match, Deepak and Prashant, they scored at 66 and almost 50 strike rate. And it's not that high because they were not hitting boundaries, but they would get on, not the top gear, but very near to the top gear from the ball one. They would start running hard. They would make a bowling team feel as to they are into already 17th or 18th over rather than the first or second over. And I think that has played a huge part in their success in the previous matches, and they have been doing pretty well. But this game, I think, even after a good start, I would say not playing 25 overs, you correctly said, Jagan. I think they would be pretty disappointed, not just with the fact that play the 25 overs, but rather uh, getting bundled out for a score of 103 when in the halfway stage they were, pretty sitting pretty nicely at 2 for 50 odd, 55 plus. So I think it was a chance miss, especially when they have beaten this once before and they had a good start. I think there would be some discussions after the first innings would have gone that the effort of Nikhil, Sai, Prashant was not materialized, and even though Sunil hit a couple of sixes in the death, but I think 103, it is a good score most of the times or some of the times, but against a batting team like Strikers, who again has a pretty similar style of batting as Kings 11 has. Strikers also has been playing this tournament for many years now. They have a settled unit. Some of the new faces come every season, but their core remains the same. And the good thing about that is that they realize the potential of the players while they perform. I think Rahul Pamar is playing his first season, if I'm not wrong. But after first few games where he was, utilized in the death overs for his power hitting, they realized that this guy has a potential because he he knows how to curb his instincts when the ball is not in his zone. So and that's a very good quality. This quality is paying a lot of dividend to a lot of players in DCL, especially with this ball, that they don't focus too much on singles. All they do is wait for the right ball into their arc, so that they can swing the ball, and they have confidence in their power hitting that they can cross the ball outside of the boundary. And that's exactly what strikers try to do with Rahul Pamar at the top. And they were boosted by the return of Raj Patel, who is one of the top all-rounders in the league. It's always a pleasure watching him, and uh, and the opponents would be wary of him that he's always there who can make a contribution. But Kings 11, like they did in their batting, they had a decent start. They pulled back the game, but I think it was for experience that strikers, even though they needed 30 odd runs in the last 7 overs, and with 6 wickets down, I think if you would have to place your bet at that particular time, most of us would have gone with Kings 11 rather than strikers. But Binod Singh showing that he's not just very handy with the ball, but with the bat as well. Without even hitting a boundary, he scored at almost 100 strike rate, crucial 19 runs. Kapil giving him a good company, hitting a six, and again scoring almost a run a ball. And and it all happened against a bowling lineup which is really good. I mean, Kings 11 is not a side, especially in the bowling, that is a cakewalk. So to score those 30 odd runs in the last 7 overs with 6 wickets down, pressure, and strikers were in a spot where if they would have lost this game, they might have been out of the playoff contention. So a lot was there to play for. Pressure was up, and experience showed up, and I think a great victory for strikers. And I think this game, out of all the games that Kings 11 played in this tournament, I think. Uh, if they don't qualify, I'm not too sure. I hope they qualify, but if they don't, I think they would be cursing this game, and because they could not close the game when they had the upper hand.
Okay, the next game of the night is Spartans versus FCC Agni. What a game for FCC Agni. Okay, your thoughts, Imti?
Yes, again, considering the fact that last week everybody predicted that Spartans would win this game, I think FCC Agni proved everybody wrong by winning one. Going into the details, I think Spartans elected to bat first, and they had a slow start for the first wicket. But I think the turning point in the batting scorecard came in the 10th over, which Ramesh bowled. He almost got a hat trick. And I think that is where the bunch of wickets fell, and there was a mini collapse there. And then again, in the middle order, Saptagirish and Vinil giving some resistance and piling up some runs. But alas, that was not enough for them. They lost all their 10 wickets in the 21st over for 71 runs. That being said, I think it was a very good bowling performance from FCC Agni. Ramesh picking 3 wickets, Milind also picking 3 wickets for 7 runs, and Mano and Arjun also chipping in with 2 wickets each. Overall, it was a very good bowling performance, very economical from all of the bowlers. And chasing down 71 going into the second half, FCC Agni definitely would have fancied the chances. I think it was a very good opening stand from Prashant, scoring 19 runs, and then well supported by Kritesh and Arjun, scoring those crucial 13 and 22 runs in the top middle order. And I think once they got those runs in the beginning phase, I think it was just a formality to just complete the game. They eventually finished in the 17th over for the loss of 6 wickets, scoring 72 runs. And not much to talk about in the bowling. Again, it was a decent performance, but they really did not have much runs on the board to defend. That being said, I think this game was a dead rubber to be in the context of the playoffs. Both the teams really did not have any chances, but I think it was a good win for FCC Agni to come to the season and end it on a high note. Although they both have still one more game, maybe it will be a good chance for them to win and end the season on a high.
Okay, the next game of the night is Canton 11 versus AR Phantom. Canton 11, they played 2 games. Exactly, their performance was exact opposite to the each. And let's discuss about the first one, Canton 11 versus AR Phantoms. KK, your thoughts?
I think it makes more justice if we go in the order, Jagan, because the Friday game, I think that is what ignited the spark in the Canton 11 unit. They got bundled out for 29 runs against MI Rangers. Nothing much to talk about it, right? When you're all out for 29, don't forget that game and just go express yourself. And there will be a little bit of anger, frustration, and disbelief in the players. And I think that this is a good game for them against AR Phantoms because the way they came back, scored 188. We know that the opposition has not even secured a point in this season, but scoring 188 should give them a bit of confidence to Canton 11, especially they have a couple of exciting games coming up, and winning both of them might put them very well in the playoff contention. So coming back to this game, they had a great start. 10 overs, 58 for 0. Their openers, Adarsh and Shakti, gave them a solid start. And even though Javed and Yusuf did not travel score as much, it was Hari Pallava show after that. Hari Pallava.
Canton has only one game left. That's against GLCC. Only one. Yeah. You said couple of games.
So they only have one game left. And what is the point? What is the point table say?
20 points. If they win, it will be 25.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
the chances of making it to playoffs are literally non-existent.
Non-existent. Okay.
I think so.
Then I might have read it wrong. So.
In that group, MCC Miles is standing at 26 already, and they still have one game against Gladiators.
So Canton is the 7th team, so they won't be able to make it. But
yeah, that's what
that is true. Yeah, Canton 11 has a very difficult. It's not possible for them to qualify.
Yeah, and it was Hari Pallava show on the day. He scored 65 with 2 4s and 5 6s at a strike rate of 171. And the rest of the batsmen, whoever came in, they tried to chip in with scores of 16, 8, 9, and 5. Held with 23 extras, this posted 188. And after that, AR Phantoms, unlike in a couple of games where their focus was more to play the 25 overs, in this game we see that they were bowled out by the opposition for 43 runs. And among the bowlers, we see 7 bowlers from Canton 11 bowling in this game. 5 of them got the wickets. Mohammad-Abdul is the pick of the bowlers, taking 3 wickets for 3 runs in his 3 overs. But one observation here is that 9 AR Phantoms players bowled when Canton 11 is batting, and the rest 2 who did not bowl opened the batting for AR Phantoms. And the AR Phantoms successfully secured that wooden spoon, staying at the last position in this year's league. So hopefully they come back next year, but also add a few more players and to improve that experience level as well as build a more competitive unit.
At this time, there are only 2 teams that are yet to win: AR Phantoms and Dark Horses. And if my request to DCL committee is conduct a game between these 2, and let's see who wins. At least that will give a team a chance to make some.
But that doesn't even count into the points table. So it's just like a consolation prize.
Yeah, whether it counts or it doesn't count, they are not going to make it to playoffs, so it won't affect.
So you are part of the committee, Jagan. Go for it.
Request, okay.
If you want, I'll come and umpire the game.
And actually, I want them to play. If they want, it's going to be a very good contest. And end of the day, at least one team will have at least one win. That's my thought, but I don't know how committee is going to react to that. But I'll definitely try to propose that one. And with that, I'll go to the next game, Safari versus SSK. And KK, I think you wanted this game versus KRCC. I mean, KRCC Legends game to Jesse.
True.
Yeah.
The reason being, I was not present in the game ended. The KRCC
Let's not get into
game.
that. Let's not even get to the get there. Who is there? Who is not there? Straight away go to Safari versus SSK. Okay.
Okay. So coming into this game, SSK were slightly having an upper edge coming into this game, and that is what the game at the end proved to be. Safaris batted first, but they only managed to score 62 runs on the board, right? And out of them, 15 were extras, which means Safaris managed to actually score 47 runs off the bat, out of which 21 of them came from Karthik Kisavamatham's bat. And the rest of the team, 5 ducks in that innings did not help them at all. And Safaris had a promising start to this year's DCL. They almost pulled off a victory against Indus Thunder. They almost pulled off a victory against Tri-Hawks, but somehow, coming into this final games, victories would give them more confidence, but that did not happen in this game. 62 on the board. Well, it's very difficult to defend that kind of score, but I think they put a very decent performance, restricting the opposition to 50 for 8 at one stage. But the 2 hits from Priyesh Gopinathan actually sealed the deal for SSK, and they secured the 5 points. And because the bowlers were Anthony, Prateek, Ravi Ranjan, and Swana Rahul for Safaris. When it comes to SSK bowling, it was Priyesh Gopinathan who 3 wickets, and Sai Prakash Marsani put 4 wickets. But hard luck to Safaris, but this win for SSK would put them in a contention spot for playoffs. They have their next game against Tri-Hawks, and a win there would take them to the playoffs.
Actually, Patriots is the only team which has 2 games left. Okay, so let's see how it is going to be. Okay, the next game of the night is Micah versus Pokeries. Imti, your thoughts?
Well, again, this was again heavily Pokery favorite game. Thankfully, Micah batted first in this game, or else you would have seen another heavy scoring game, is what I thought. And Micah batting first, they scored 79. Only with the one person in that batting order, they're putting the bulk of the runs. Bharat Jalla, who scored 31 runs. He stayed there for a while. He got some support from Naresh and Naveen Kumar on the top, but then the rest of the batsmen really not showing up, and 10 extras helping them to get to that 79 score. If you look at the bowling for Pokeries, I think it was a good outing for Raghu, who picked up 4 wickets, picked up the bowlers, and then well supported by Saran, Neil, and Ravi sharing the other wickets among themselves. Again, this is a good bowling performance considering that Pokeries is a batting heavy team, and I think this will give some good confidence into the bowling unit also. That being said, chasing down 79, 80 to win. I think it was if I can say this, it was a cakewalk for Pokeries. Except for Amit in the top, I think everybody else contributed. Saran, Vignesh, Nilkandan, all scoring double digits, 17, 16, 17. These are like good numbers when you're chasing a low score, and also extras adding up another 12 runs. After that initial partnerships, I think they just had some fun out there in the process, losing some extra wickets. But overall, they finished the game in 15 overs, chasing down that 80 runs. Though they lost 7 wickets, I think it was more of a experimentation, I would say, rather than losing wickets due to the bowling of the opponents. Again, on the bowling for Micah DHM, Abhi was the pick of the bowlers who picked 3 wickets, but again, not much scored really to defend that small total. Again, one point I would like to mention here is, like, I think Pokeries has a very good unit, and I think this is probably the best middle order lineup in the league, if I can say that. With Vignesh, Neil, Raghu, and Ranjit, and then add Prasanna to that equation. This is really looking a very good unit. So it will be very good to see how their playoffs will against whom they will play and how those results will come out. So.
Yep, KRCC versus Legends. Okay, the stage is yours, Jesse.
Yeah. it was table topper game, and I think it 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 actually had the billing uh, to be, I mean, between the two heavyweights of the pool, have been playing pretty good cricket. Both the teams, legends, came unbeaten into this match, and KRCC also just lost one game prior to this game. So, yep, it was a much anticipated contest, I think, for both the teams, and the uh, the batting department, I think uh, KRCC batting first, and they had a pretty ordinary start. I mean, 25 for three inside 9 overs, and then 30 odd for 4 wickets in 12 overs break time, and after that it was a beautiful partnership between Maulik and Vihar, I think, which took the game. I would not say away from legends, but from the score that they would have thought after taking those 4 wickets. Maulik and Vihar, Maulik, this the kind of form he is in. He's taking upon himself almost every game. He's been showing that consistency brings a lot of confidence, and now he's backing his performances each and every game. He's into a zone where he wants to perform against good bowling lineups as well. And Vihar, I think, one of the very few guys in the entire league who is really really blessed with some very special timing. I mean, there are players who you know send them to all the places, and then there are players like Vihar who just brushes the ball, and the timing on the ball is such that it races. I mean, he's a real delight to watch. Anybody who has seen Vihar bat, he comes across as a very very cool head guy. Just his defense and the extension of defense is such a difference that just the extension of defense would go to 2 runs, and he's a very very reliable batsman in any of the batting side. He would be a walk-in. So I think a partnership of 50 runs with more than run a ball. I think they set the game beautifully, and they did that against some very quality bowling of Shrikant, Narne, Harish. I mean, Harish, I saw him after a couple of years, and this guy has improved immensely. I mean, he always had the pace, he always had the knack of picking wickets, but the increase in the speed, the control in the lengths, and the threat that he's now. I mean, it was really really great to see him being uh, becoming what he has become, and a lot of congratulations and a lot of praise for him to put in that effort. I've heard he has utilized that COVID times to build up strength, to focus on his cricket, and the results are showing. So again, coming back to batting lineup of KRCC, Abhishek Verma finished things with a couple of sixes, and with a score of 123. And the sort of batting form legends were, it wasn't game over by any means. So the game was evenly poised. I would say KRCC would have their tails up that we have a score now, and it's always difficult to chase such a score. But the heat was such. I think it was 94, 95, and very humid. So the KRCC bowlers and fielders knew that they have their tasks cut out, and they had a decent start. The first wicket going pretty cheaply, and then there was a partnership between Harish and Gautam. And Harish, when Ronak with his beauty, off cutter, when he got Harish out, I think it was now more than they had to chase the game because they knew that if they try to up the ante now, they might lose wickets in bundles, and the game could be over pretty soon. And under that sort of pressure, I think it was a very very brilliant innings by Gotham. He had poise, he had patience, he waited for his balls, kept rotating the strike until anything comes into his zone, took the game deep, and then expressed himself and scored that 40 runs, run a ball. He's a kind of player, what I've noticed is he won't make you realize that he's scoring at that pace. He would play 2 3 dot balls, and you would feel that, okay, no, this guy is not hurting. But his longevity, his temperament makes him a real special player, and I think he's a great asset to Legends. After he got out in the death overs because the run rate, the required run rate climbed up to 8.5, 9 runs and over, and somebody had to take a chance, and he was a settled guy. After he was out, uh, Legends still had a couple of big hitters with Naga and Salman playing his first game, but had a reputation of clearing the boundaries pretty easily. I think, but it was not to be, and the game in the last over, I think they needed 20 odd runs, which was, and bowling department of Legends, KRCC. I think Jash Patel, although he went for a few runs, but this guy, if you see him and you will see a innocence on his face. He would just mind his own business, go to every ball, give the same energy, whether it is 94 degrees or 70 degrees. He's always up for the task, and I think it was a good game, and a lot of positives to be taken by both the teams for both the teams, and Legends also were unbeaten, but they would know that against quality side it could go either way, so they would also pull up their socks and come back strong in the playoffs.
Okay, the next game of the night is Dark Horses versus Dynamites. Jesse, it's again you.
Yep. I don't know what to talk about this game, to be honest. It was a total demolition of Dark Horses by the Dynamites team. Dynamites team, they like many other teams in the league, they have been playing for so many years now. They have some of the new players coming in, but again a team where core remains the same. And I think the fruits are now showing up that being consistent and sticking with your core would give you result with an addition of couple of players here and there. And I think for Dark Horses, when they lost couple of wickets, it went from bad to worse, and then worse from worse to worst. It never in their entire innings they look like posing any threat. And Pankaj, finally, when he got out, I think it was game over, curtain. And 34, I don't think they would have thought that this could go that bad. But yep, it's a game to forget. And in the batting department, Dynamites, when you're chasing 34, there is no pressure. You can express. So those were like free runs. And Arun, being a seasoned campaigner now in the DCL, he cashed out the opportunity. Anybody would. So yep, not to talk much about this game. And great job done by Dynamites, which would give them a lot of confidence going into the playoffs.
Okay, the next game is Punjab Warriors versus GLCC. And last time when in the predictions when we talk about this game, you guys made fun of me. At least now, you won't, I guess. Imti, your thoughts?
Well, it would
Jagan,
have
how
been
did
different
we
if I
even?
was. Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead,
take
KK.
it. I was just about to say that we did not know that the Punjab Warriors skipper had a discussion with Jagan and something went behind the scenes.
Well, if I was a part of the show last week, I would have predicted differently, maybe. I think. But that being said, this game I thought was very close, and I really was not expecting GLCC to go down. This game to go down to the wire, and I think, to be honest, I will sum it up saying that GLCC had a lucky escape in this game. Punjab Warriors are a very spirited team, and I think they showed some good performances in this game, and they should have won this game. I was umpiring this game, and I really thought Punjab had this game in their kitty, but somehow it just slipped away from them in the last minute. That being said, if you go into the details of the game, Punjab Warriors batting first, and again this was a different look GLCC team with a lot of members not available for this game. Akash was leading this game, and so back to Punjab Warriors batting. I think they started off decently well. Baldeep Munde standing at one end and trying to up the ante, but he did not get much support in the top order from their top 3-4 batsmen. It was again down to the lower middle order where players like Amrit Pal, Gurdeep himself, and then Dhiman Patel, who really did bulk of the scoring and actually helped Punjab Warriors reach that commendable score of 96, a respectable score, I would say, because at one point they were like close to 30 odd runs for the loss of 5 wickets. And it was really looking that it would just end up very quickly, but then it was a spirited performance from their lower middle order. Like I said, Amritpal is a very good batsman. He's a very patient guy, I would say. He's waiting for his balls and then scoring off those. And if you have players like that in the team, you can always rely on them and expect them to do well. And good last minute, last few overs, good batting by Deeman, who scored two big sixers and helping that score to 96. If you look at the bowling from GLCC, some unexpected names in the bowling where you don't often see Ashraf by bowling and Manpreet also chipping 4 overs and getting 2 wickets. Ankit Patel picking 2 wickets, Akash picking up 2 wickets. I think it was a shared bowling effort, like most of them economical, but also Akash and Ankit going for a few runs. Again, that was in the fag end of the innings. But I thought 96 was a very good score considering GLCC's experience and the stature of the team. I think Punjab Warriors did a very good job to score 96 runs. Going into the second half, I think GLCC with their batting lineup were definitely were favorites. But again, Punjab Warriors, I think, bowled decently well in the top and they picked up some quick wickets. And it was actually going downhill until I think where Ashraf and Manpreet came to the crease and kind of did have some resistance. But then again, they kept losing wickets at regular intervals. Very good bowling by Punjab Warriors. Deeman Patel, who was really bowling some good line and length and not allowing GLCC to really go off to a free scoring game. Again, like I said, wickets falling at regular intervals, and at one point, I really felt that GLCC would wind up around 60, 65 runs. But again, I think somehow the bowling changes. I think it's lack of experience. I can say maybe Gurdeep he really did not calculate well. I thought, and he finished his good bowlers really soon, and that gave some opening to GLCC in the last 4 or 5 overs where runs were really coming freely and not much pressure from the bowling side, and the runs were flowing freely. And although the game went to the last over, I think it was just that fact that the runs were coming. There was not extra pressure in that end, and Ankit, who played a brilliant innings, staying at one end, although wickets falling on around him. I think he really batted well and saw GLCC through, staying unbeaten with 19 runs. Very crucial 19 runs, I would say, in this season for GLCC. Although they had some big scores by other people, I think these 19 runs by Ankit will prove really precious in their playoff hunt. Again, I think they will make it to the playoffs without any scare, but I think it was a very close call, to be honest.
Okay, the next game of the night is Rising Stars versus Trailing Strikers. KK.
So going into this game, Jagan, Rising Stars did not have a great season. It's a season for them to forget. And in this game, if you see, they got bundled out within 12 overs. They batted first, and they got bundled out within 11.3 overs for 42 runs. So not sure if this is the shortest finish to a first inning of the season. But going into the batting innings, out of their top 7 batsmen, only Kevir Galia scored 16 runs. The other 6 batsmen in total scored 6 runs. And at the end of 6 overs, they lost 6 wickets. At the end of 9 overs, they lost 8 wickets. So, just things kept happening so fast. And Raza Ali, he's always around the wickets. And in this game, you see him picking up 6 wickets at 12 runs. And they wrapped up the innings within 42 runs. And in the Sterling Strikers batting, I think they wanted to finish the game in a hurry. They lost about 6 wickets while chasing 43 runs, and 12 of those runs were extras. Except for Raza Ali again, no one else got into the double digits. So, had Rising Stars scored a few more runs, probably 30, 40 more, we would have seen the game go either way. But, it sums up the season for Rising Stars, and Sterling Strikers got 5 points from this.
Okay, the next game of the night is Canton 11 versus MI Rangers. Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, from 34 all out in Dynamites versus Dark Horses, we are now to 29 all out. I mean, again, very, very sorry looking scorecard for Canton 11. Nothing went their way. I mean, for all the reasons, everybody, I mean, I've seen even with the new ball when they say that the scoring has become, pretty brisk and the scores have, uh, increased from 70 odd to 90 odd, 100 odd, I mean, the comfort score. But Javed, scoring, facing most of the deliveries in most of the games. I think when he got out for zero in this match, they left 10 overs in the ground to play. I mean, they bundle out for 15 inside 15 overs, scoring 29 runs. Out of those, also 10 were scored by a number nine. I mean, uh, they, I mean, total demolition by Warriors. And then again, similar to what happened in Dynamites versus Dark Horses, they knew that they can't lose it from here. So why not just have some fun, get some, easy runs, try to score some boundaries. And Aditya and Ifti starting positively, and then Abhilash, I think you can't get better than these. Facing just two balls, hitting sixes, as easy as that. It's not a hard game. So yeah, I think a great victory for MI Rangers, and they have always been a very, very disciplined unit, very good unit. And now I think they are into their fourth or fifth season, and I think we can start expecting some special things from them.
I agree. I agree. They have been playing very good, especially they are peaking well in the right time. And
Yeah.
the next game of the night is FCC versus UCA. Though I mean it's all predicted that FCC is going to win this game. I'm impressed with the way UCA reacted to this game, especially chasing 155. So your thoughts, Imti?
So Jagan, before I start, like one quick question. I thought this game was played last Wednesday, right? So was this game not discussed in last week?
No,
I
we
was
did.
just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, this game again, I think a very, very good win for FCC, considering their season has been up and down. And I think the last couple of games that FCC has played, I think they have scored in excess of 150, and that is a real confidence booster for them nearing the playoffs. Almost again, they still have to wait for their last game to make sure that they are into the playoffs. I think it will be a decider. That being said, if you go into the details of this game, I think FCC batting first to put a mammoth score of 155, thanks to Prabhu and Mahendra Krishnappa, who scored 45 runs, and Prabhu also chipping in with 26 runs at the top of the order. A partnership of close to 60 runs, setting up a very good foundation for FCC to build on that. And I think Tejas and then Sai coming down the order, just hunting up the score and then scoring those 155, making the total to 155. I think this was a very good looking batting scorecard. To be honest, just having a good foundation and then the players coming down the order, just building on that. If you look at the scorecard, it is interesting that almost every batsman at least had one big six, except for Prabhu and Teju in the top 7, 8. So everybody getting freeing their arms and getting maximum, and that just shows that the batsmen were just trying to increase the momentum and because of the foundation that they had. If you look at the bowling figures for UCA, I think almost close to 8 bowlers used in this, trying to stop the onslaught from FCC. But the pick of the bowlers being Hari Shankar and Shiva picking 3 wickets each, although the other players went going for some runs in excess of 6 runs per over economy. I think 155, a huge score considering the experience of FCC. UCA had a tough task going into the second innings. And again, like when you have to chase down such a big score, I think the top four, somebody has to step up and perform, which again is missing in this game. Although Sheikh Mohammed had a start, he got out for 14, and then Senthil, who came and number 4, scoring, getting into double digits, but not carrying on. After that, it's just like not much to talk about in the batting scorecard. Again, it was thanks to Chandra, who came very low down the order, scoring those 36 runs to make it a respectable score. He hit 4 big sixers and 2 fours in that 36 from 18 balls. I think it was just a free-spirited batting performance at the end. Just there was nothing to lose. He just expressed himself and got those additional runs. And if you look at the bowling scorecard, I think it was a decent bowling scorecard. But I would have liked to see FCC shutting this game even early and not bowling out all the 25 overs. Uh, with the experience that they have, I think they should have shut down this game with UCA bundling of 60 or 70 runs. So apart from that, I think it was overall a very good game and confidence booster nearing to the playoffs for FCC.
Okay, the next game of the night, Raptors versus Thunderbolts. KK.
Sorry, stuck in mute. So this is one other one-sided affair. Thunderbolts batting first, scored 54 runs in 18.2 overs. And it was good bowling by Raptors because at the start of the season, we always spoke about Raptors batting and their bowling almost let them down in a couple of games. But coming into this game, their bowling unit showed up. Anil Balreddy picking 4 wickets and Kiran back in action picking 5 wickets, sealed the deal for them. Thunderbolts only managed about 54 runs. 2 batsmen got into the double digits, Pravas Krishnamurthy and Deepak Bhaskaran. Deepak Bhaskaran, he has produced good scores this season. Not sure why he always prefers that number 8 and number 9 position. He needs to bat up. He's a good batsman, right? So probably that's a take for the next season. But when it comes to Raptors batting, Amarendra Nuvala and Hemant Naidu finished the game in no time, scoring 55 runs at the run rate of 10 runs per over. Secured 5 points into the bag, and Raptors with their current run rate and the number of points, they're comfortably sitting at the top of the table.
Okay. The next game of the night is Sterling Strikers versus Gladiators, and it's Shahnawa's show all the way. I thought he'll score. I was waiting for his century, but unfortunately he got out at 81, and then with that kind of starts and with the kind of batting Gladiators have, it's massive for any team. Your thoughts, Jesse?
Yeah, that's right, Jagan. I mean, just looking at the talent that Gladiators have at their disposal, I mean, it's it's amazing. The sort of individuals who didn't get a chance in the battings, like Taifu, Aditya, I mean, and in the bowling, like Shan didn't bowl, and Udit didn't bowl, Udit didn't bat either. So I mean, they are a team where if 3 or 4 of their big guns also don't show up in the game, they won't be missed because uh, I think they almost every player is the big gun. I mean, uh, on paper, and now they've started to show for the last few years on the ground as well that they are a cut above every other team. They always had the batting. I think the bowling also is very, very strong this year. They after scoring in excess of 200, not even for a second their intensity dropped until they knew that the game is now in their pocket. So yeah, in the details, I would say Shan was not doing anything out of ordinary. He has always been a player who would play the correct shot. So he's a complete batsman. He will not start slugging or play those adventurous shots just to score runs. He's a sort of batsman like Vraj and Arjun and others who who would have who has all the shots in their book, and uh, just an extension of their defenses and their arms, their follow through, with the power that they have. I mean, they are just great players to watch, and Shan is right up there with all the great players playing in this league, and he showed what a classic act he is, and scored those 80 runs, hitting 7 sixes, not sparing any of the Sterling striker bowlers who personally I thought would compete a little better. But we saw 34 all out, we saw 29 all out. We say that is bad, but this is right up there with those bad performances from Sterling strikers. I mean, giving away 212 runs, not competing in the batting department, getting bundled out for 50, and that when quite a couple of non-regular bowlers bowling. I think it was one-way traffic all the way when Shan, kicked off in a style he did, and Ronak Yu giving him, beautiful support, and stitching that partnership with him at an aggressive rate, and then, as always, Hardeep coming in, the bowling unit who is already demoralized. He comes in, and start working from the ball one, and anything in his arc is going outside of the park all the time. So uh, Sterling strikers had no answers to what the questions that were put by the quality of the batsmen like Shan, Ronak, and Hardeep, and even in the batting department, they just you know a pretty dismal show, I would say. I'm not sure they have qualified or not, but this might dent their confidence. But I think coming against Glads, it can happen. They I think should have a team meeting where they should discuss that. Forget about this. If we are not facing Glads again in the initial couple of matches in the playoffs, we should gain some momentum, get some confidence into our game, and even if we face a team like Gladiators, Indus, Legends in the latter part of the playoffs, we should be up for it because a performance like this would not get them anywhere. So uh, a pretty forgettable performance for Sterling Strikers and business as usual for Gladiators.
Yep. And with that, we have completed all the games. And the only game to predict for next week is we have only one game for the long weekend. That is Dark Horses versus Patriots. And I think Patriots are going to win this one. Any objections?
None.
No objections. No.
No objections. Okay. We will close tonight's show with a little bit discussion on India versus England match. Okay. India scored 190 or something like that. And then they got 3 wickets. What are the chances from here for England and India? And I'll start with Imti.
You might want to start with Jesse because I really did not watch today's
Okay.
game.
Okay. Jesse, your thoughts.
Yeah, I think two very very strong units playing in conditions that favor England more. But I think from 2 to 3 years from now, I mean, in the past, these conditions, India might not even compete. But with this aggressive unit that India has now, I mean, aggressive not in their batting, but with their fitness levels going up, and their bowlers who can match every inch with the fitness level of England, Australian, South African bowlers, New Zealand bowlers. So I think with the last match won by England, in the fashion that they did, I think Indians were under immense pressure, and to uh, I think England made the right thing, which India didn't in their last match, was when you get out a team under from a winning position to to snatch the victory like India did in Lords in the second match, and then to not inviting them on a pretty overcast conditions for the next game. I think India missed their chance in the last game, but England did not. They knew that India are under pump. Their batting lineup is under so much radar. They questions are being asked about Pujara and Rahane. So I think they did the right thing, put India into bat, and their bowlers asked the right questions from the very first over. And Anderson, I mean, he's an ageless wonder with the able support of Vokes, who is, I think, equally good as anybody in this world right now in those conditions. So I think uh, not for that aggressive innings, India might have again given the game to England by getting bundled out for less than 130, 120. But now 191 in these conditions is a pretty decent score. If you can touch 300 in the first innings in these conditions, you are always have your noses ahead. But just touching 200 could be competitive because England would be batting last in this match. I think this game is absolutely evenly poised. Such a crucial game from the outcome of the series perspective as well. And England have their tasks cut out. I think the first hour of tomorrow's session, if India can take 2 or 3 wickets, I think any lead of 30 to 50 would prove so much vital going into fourth innings when England would have to chase anything above 170, 180. I think it's gonna be a really tough task for England and India also with the they showed that they have it in them in the bowling department. I think if they that was much needed because sometimes when you have lost a game in the way that India did and with with the scoring, if as I said, Shardul wouldn't have scored those runs, India would have been looking at 120, 130. So I think with that sort of confidence going south. An effort like this in the bowling department, the beauty of the ball that Umesh Yadav bowled to Joe Root, I think amazing. And I think it's a game where India, I would say, have their noses a little ahead, but a lot would depend on how the morning session tomorrow goes.
Yeah, very well. So it all depends on morning session. Any thoughts, KK?
I mean, Jesse summed it up very well because India has already taken 3 top order wickets of England, and more importantly, Joe Root, who is man in form, is out, and they have a night watchman playing now. So if India can get a wicket in the first 10-15 minutes, the score would suddenly look 50 for 4, and that puts a lot of pressure on England. And if India can capitalize from there on and try to restrict England within that score of 191, then they definitely have a very good chance to win the game because the team that is batting last is England, and there will be more pressure on England than India. So
Yeah.
that is what I think about. Jagan. At this point, we are only done with 1 day of the test match. We have 4 more days left. Who knows if third and fourth innings go forever?
Yeah.
I see this game going into the second half, the fourth day, or maybe the fifth day.
Okay, let's hope for the best. Okay, with that, so I'll quickly go for the last words and close the show here. Imti.
Yeah, again, thanks to all our listeners for supporting us, and really thanks to you for staying and listening to our show. Without you, we wouldn't really have the motivation and all these good words from all our fellow analysts. So thanks again, Jesse Bhai, for joining today, and thanks to KK as always, and thank you, Jagan, for this organizing the show. Thank you to all the listeners, and we'll come back after the long weekend for the prediction, the playoff situations. Hello.
KK. Thank you, MT.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, KK.
So next week will be more interesting show because we are going into the last week of the league stage, and we will be able to see who will be that 15th team, who will be that 16th team. We can run through the matchups and also look at the possibilities of various teams where they might end up. And it will be more fun the next week's show. And
yeah,
looking
it's going
forward
to
to that
be
show.
more exciting going forward. Okay, at least next 2 weeks are going to be very interesting for us sitting here. Okay, thank you, KK. And Jesse.
Yep, I think everybody said it right that the I mean we can all say that the one-sided affairs are almost over, and we are now at the business end of the tournament where it's very hard to predict, and every team who has earned a playoff spot has played a certain level of cricket that have earned them their spot in the playoffs out of because some of the teams that would miss out are amazing teams. So to get ahead of them and get a playoff spot, I think it's a huge motivation. And not thinking about semifinals and finals, rather taking one game at a time would help a lot of teams who are not the showstoppers of the tournament like Glads, Indus, GLCC. So I would recommend just take one game at a time, give your 100%, strategize out based out on opponent's weakness and strengths, and just take it from there. And I'm pretty sure like in the last few years I've seen the every match from now on is going to be worth discussing in the coming weeks of this show.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse, and thank you all for joining us tonight, and thanks all the listeners. With that, we'll conclude tonight's show. Good night.